Imagine walking into your home and looking around. Your smartphone, your laptop, your television, your kitchen appliances, even the batteries inside modern electric cars. There is a surprisingly high chance that each of them has one thing in common. They were either made in China or contain parts manufactured there. Today, China produces more manufactured goods than any other country on Earth. Its factories supply products to almost every nation. Its ports handle an enormous share of global trade. Its industries power supply chains that billions of people depend on every single day. But this wasn't always the case. Only a few decades ago, China was one of the poorest countries in the world. Millions of people struggled with poverty. Modern industry barely existed. Consumer goods were extremely limited. Foreign companies had almost no reason to invest there. Few people could have imagined that this country would one day become the factory of the world. So, how did China achieve one of the greatest economic transformations in modern history? Was it simply because wages were low? Or was there a much bigger strategy behind this extraordinary success? The answer would reshape the global economy forever. To understand China's rise, we have to travel back to the middle of the 20th century. After decades of war, political instability, and economic destruction, the newly established People's Republic of China faced an enormous challenge. The country was overwhelmingly rural. Most people depended on agriculture for survival. Modern infrastructure was scarce. Industrial production was extremely limited. China possessed a huge population, but very little capital. Throughout the 1950s and 1960s, the government attempted to rapidly industrialize the country through central planning. Factories were built. Large state-owned enterprises expanded. But many economic policies proved highly inefficient. Production targets often ignored market realities. Resources were allocated poorly. Innovation was limited. Economic growth remained slow. Living standards improved only gradually. By the 1970s, China's economy had reached a critical point. Its population continued to grow, but productivity remained low. Compared with rapidly developing neighbors like Japan and South Korea, China was falling further behind. Its leaders realized something had to change. If China continued following the same economic model, it would never catch up with the rest of the world. The country needed an entirely different approach, one that would eventually transform not only China, but global manufacturing itself. Everything changed in 1978. That year, a new leader began reshaping China's future. His name was Deng Xiaoping. Unlike many leaders before him, Deng believed that economic success should come before ideology. His famous idea was surprisingly simple. It doesn't matter whether a cat is black or white, as long as it catches mice. In other words, what mattered wasn't political theory. What mattered was improving people's lives. Deng understood that China could no longer remain isolated from the global economy. Instead of closing its doors, China decided to open them. This became known as the open door policy. For the first time, foreign companies were encouraged to invest in China. International trade was no longer seen as a threat. It became an opportunity. But attracting foreign businesses required more than just promises. China needed a place where new economic ideas could be tested without changing the entire country overnight. The solution was revolutionary. In 1980, China created its first special economic zones. These areas operated under completely different economic rules. Businesses enjoyed lower taxes. Regulations became far more flexible. Foreign investors could build factories, hire workers, and export products to the rest of the world. Among these new zones, one small fishing village stood out. Its name was Shenzhen. At the time, Shenzhen had fewer than 30,000 residents. There were no skyscrapers, no financial district, no technology companies. Very few people outside China had even heard its name. Yet the government saw something others did not. Shenzhen was located just across the border from Hong Kong, one of Asia's busiest trading centers. Its location made it the perfect gateway for international investment. Factories quickly began appearing across the city. Roads were built, ports expanded, electricity networks improved. Every year, more companies arrived. Millions of workers traveled from rural villages, hoping to find better jobs. Entire neighborhoods seemed to appear almost overnight. As manufacturing expanded, China offered something the global economy desperately needed: an enormous workforce, competitive production costs, and a government determined to improve infrastructure faster than almost anywhere else in the world. For multinational companies, the opportunity was impossible to ignore. Producing goods in China dramatically reduced manufacturing costs. For China, every new factory meant more than jobs. It meant new technology, new management skills, new industrial knowledge. Instead of simply importing products, China was learning how to build them, and this was only the beginning. Within just a few years, the world would witness one of the fastest industrial expansions in human history. As more international companies entered China, the country's manufacturing capacity expanded at an astonishing speed. Factories grew larger. Production became faster, supply chains became more efficient. But China's greatest advantage wasn't simply low labor costs. Many countries had inexpensive workers. Very few had the ability to build an entire manufacturing ecosystem. China invested heavily in highways, railways, deep water ports, power generation, and modern logistics. Raw materials could move quickly. Finished products could reach ports within hours. Ships departed daily for every major market around the world. At the same time, millions of workers were receiving industrial training. Every new factory created more experienced engineers, technicians, managers, and skilled operators. Knowledge spread from one company to another. Each investment made the next one even more attractive. Soon, some of the world's biggest companies began moving production to China. One of the most important was Apple. Although Apple designed its products in California, millions of iPhones, iPads, and MacBooks would eventually be assembled in enormous Chinese factories operated by companies like Foxconn. These facilities employed hundreds of thousands of workers. Some factories were so large, they almost functioned like entire cities. But Apple was only one example. Companies such as Dell, HP, Samsung, Sony, Nike, Adidas, and countless others relied on Chinese manufacturing to supply customers across the globe. Every successful partnership strengthened China's position even further. As production volumes increased, costs continued to fall. Lower costs attracted even more businesses. Those new businesses created even larger supply chains, and larger supply chains made China even more competitive. Economists call this an industrial cluster. When suppliers, manufacturers, transport companies, research centers, and skilled workers all operate in the same region, productivity increases dramatically. China didn't simply build factories. It built entire industrial cities, places where almost every component needed for modern manufacturing could be produced within a short distance. Need electronic parts? They're nearby. Plastic components, only minutes away. Packaging, across the street. Shipping containers, already waiting at the port. This level of efficiency became incredibly difficult for competitors to match. Over time, China earned a reputation for something even more valuable than low prices: reliability. International companies knew that China could deliver enormous production volumes, maintain consistent quality, and scale manufacturing faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. By the early 21st century, China was no longer just participating in global manufacturing, it had become the center of it. By the 2000s, China had already established itself as the world's manufacturing powerhouse. But its leaders understood something important. Producing low-cost goods alone would never guarantee long-term prosperity. As wages increased, China could no longer compete only on cheap labor. The next stage of development required something far more valuable: innovation. The country began investing heavily in research and development. Universities expanded engineering programs. Technology parks appeared across major cities. Government funding encouraged advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, robotics, and semiconductor research. Chinese companies also began changing. Instead of simply assembling products designed elsewhere, many started creating technologies of their own. Huawei became one of the world's largest telecommunications companies. DJI transformed the global drone industry. BYD emerged as one of the world's leading electric vehicle manufacturers. Companies like Xiaomi and Lenovo expanded into international markets, competing directly with some of the world's biggest brands. At the same time, China became the world's largest market for electric vehicles. Massive investments in battery technology, renewable energy, and automation accelerated the country's technological transformation. Modern factories looked very different from those built only a few decades earlier. Robotic arms worked alongside human operators. Artificial intelligence monitored production quality in real time. Automated warehouses moved thousands of products every hour. The focus was no longer simply producing more, it was producing smarter. China also invested in infrastructure on an extraordinary scale. It built the world's largest high-speed rail network. Its ports became some of the busiest on Earth. Modern airports connected Chinese cities with every major region of the world. This infrastructure reduced transportation costs, improved efficiency, and made global trade even faster. Today, many products still carry the label, "Made in China." But behind that simple phrase lies one of the most sophisticated industrial systems ever created, a system built over decades through planning, investment, education, and continuous improvement. China did not become the world's factory overnight. It became the world's factory because every stage of its development prepared the country for the next one. And now, its ambitions extend far beyond manufacturing alone. China's rise has transformed the global economy. Today, almost every industry depends on products manufactured there, from smartphones and computers to electric vehicles, medical equipment, consumer electronics, and renewable energy technologies. China remains deeply connected to the world's supply chains, but its story is about far more than factories. China proved that long-term planning, massive investment in infrastructure, education, and industrial development can completely transform a nation's future. Its greatest achievement wasn't simply producing more goods, it was building an ecosystem where manufacturing, innovation, technology, and logistics all work together. Of course, China still faces significant challenges. an aging population, rising labor costs, geopolitical tensions, supply chain diversification, and increasing competition from countries such as India, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The next chapter of China's economic story has not yet been written. But one fact is already impossible to ignore. Few countries have ever transformed themselves as dramatically or as quickly as China. For the rest of the world, China offers an important lesson. Natural resources alone do not create lasting prosperity. Population alone does not guarantee success. Real economic power is built through vision, discipline, education, investment, and the ability to adapt when the world changes. The factory of the world day was never built by accident. It was built through decades of deliberate decisions, and those decisions changed global trade forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to Built for Billions, where every week we explore the incredible stories behind the world's most successful economies. And tell us in the comments, which country's economic transformation should we uncover next?